says you need a vacation for a view like this? Or, I wish there was a place to get in shape. Try getting on the beaten path. Discover an ever-expanding network of trails and greenways. Some quintessential southern beauty. Or romp through the woods in a magical land between the rivers. There's more to explore than you ever imagined. Beyond the swing sets. Breck, we are more than a playground.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Buggs Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hello and welcome to week 11 of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach. Boy, brutal weekend if you're a football fan in South Louisiana, all across the board. Tough weekend, Coach.
Oh, yeah, well, there'll be days like this.
Mama said there'd be days like this.
There'll be some days like this.
Yes, sir. Tigers lose another game that they could have won.
Well, they could have won, and I think Coach O was trying something. Mm-hmm. I think he should have brought in Johnson toward the end when they had a chance, but he was looking at something with Neuheiser. You know, and they're not going anywhere. So I guess that's the way he looked at it. If we win it or lose it, we're not going anywhere. And I'm fired. I'm playing with house money.
Yeah. There is no substitute for consistency or the lack thereof, is there?
There is no substitute for it. That's why good teams show good consistency, and bad teams show a lack of it.
Yeah.
They play good here, bad there, and so they have the up and down syndrome, which doesn't allow you to be successful.
Well, we have highlights from the most recent encounter of the Tigers taking on number 25 ranked Razorbacks. So we will ask the crew in the truck if you would be so kind as to roll those highlights as Coach and I continue our conversation. Once again, the defense did enough to win, but the offense came up lacking.
Yeah, it came up lacking. And I want to say that Arkansas is not as bad as people may think they are.
Oh, they're number 25 in the country.
Yeah, and they really are. They got a good, strong quarterback that could play the game, and the coach up there is doing a really good job.
Coach, you talked earlier about Garrett Nussmeier. Showed some flashes of brilliance, but as is usually the case, the times that you did things that weren't brilliant really hurt him, those 2 interceptions in particular.
Yeah, well, and you're dealing with a freshman. Those things happen, Clarence.
Oh, yeah.
The defensive coordinator throws stuff at them that they just are not prepared for.
Right.
They're seeing it in the time that they're seeing it, but not in the real time that is actually happening.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So those things eventually happen where they end up throwing interception or doing something they shouldn't.
Good play defensively. Looking for a flag, none coming. Coach, one of the things that is problematic, bothersome, if you will, for a lot of Tiger fans is the fact that at this point in the season, there still seems to be problems with communication between the staff and the players, particularly as it pertains to getting the play called on time and getting the right personnel on the field at the time. Conventional wisdom says you should have that down pretty pat at this point in the season.
What you're talking about, the packages. They don't have that right packages together and fast enough so they could send it out to the field. And it caused confusion for a young team like with the quarterbacks.
Right.
They've got to try and rush now, and it throws them out of sync.
Yeah.
I think some of the problem is those coordinators, offensive coordinators, are relatively young at doing this, But it's inexcusable to be at LSU, a team 2 years removed from a national championship.
From the greatest, arguably the greatest season of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, if nothing else, do what they did.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to be able to get those plays in. You always got to have 2 plays called. Mm-hmm. That's really what you got to have, 2 plays called, so you can get those plays in. And you have to take in consideration who you're getting them into.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with a seasoned veteran.
Right. You mentioned 2 years ago, and I threw in arguably the greatest season in the history of college football. Here it is 2 years later, and we see the first time in 22 years that LSU has lost 6 games in a season. That's a hell of a turnaround in a short amount of time, Coach.
Well, they had a lot of injuries. And
lost a lot of kids to the pros.
Yeah, well, and we can't count the ones that lose to the pros because LSU is going to lose them.
Oh, yeah,
because
every year.
But, I would just say the injuries are the one factor that hurt. But, again, and they lost them. Offensive line didn't do a good job early. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's just tough. Running backs, well, if offense don't block, running backs ain't going to be able to run. Now, they are doing a better job of running.
Definitely.
But it is what it is. They're not a good team right now.
Defense still played hard, holding the number 25 team in the nation to just 16 points in overtime. So there was a bright spot there.
It was. And when you take into consideration this team didn't blitz in the first few games of the year. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that they hadn't blitzed.
Last in the SEC.
In blitz.
In blitzing.
And you have to blitz.
You have to.
I mean, this is, it's just so difficult for young football players to be able to remember all of their assignments. Mm-hmm. So if you come at a different angle with your blitz,
right,
they're not going to remember all of the blocking assignments.
Uh-huh. Once again, even though it results in a loss, but you still took the number 25 team in the country to overtime, and you were short 9 starters when the game started.
That's all? Just 9?
Just 9. Well, I mean, if you figure that's almost, if you figure 5 and 4, that's almost half of your offense or defense, and more than a third of the other side of the ball.
Oh, yeah, I was only joking, but I understand what you're saying, though. This is something that they have to figure out and get worked out in the last 2 games. I mean, this is a team can't wait for the season to end.
Uh-huh.
When you're playing the way they are, they can't wait for that last ball to be snapped.
When you look at a new coach and you take into consideration the Alabama game, the Arkansas game, 2 nationally ranked teams, one at the top, one bringing up the rear at the top 25. 9 starters out, and you still could have easily won both of those games. That's got to be awfully attractive for some coach considering throwing his or her hat into the ring to take that job.
Well, I don't think that matters to the next coach. They already know that this is not the team they're going to win with. It's the recruits they have to bring in to go with them. You got me? You know, they're looking at, they have a couple of key pieces,
Right.
particularly on defense, that they really can work with. Defense look a lot better. And I don't know how many people they're losing on offense, but they're going to have to remake a lot of those things on the offensive line. And
How extensive do you think it has to be, though? Again, you were a hair's breadth away from beating the number 2 team in the country. You took number 25 to overtime, shorthanded. I mean, conventional wisdom says to us non-coaches, you've got a nucleus there that can win. You just got to teach them how to win or put them in the position to win.
you're a non-coach, Clarence?
Oh, no, I'm not.
You coach a lot on this show.
Do I make the kind of money Coach O makes?
You do a lot of coaching on this show.
When I get to make the kind of old money, then I'll be a coach.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
No.
But
No.
you know, it would seem like if I were considering that job, I can come in with the pieces that are already there.
Yes.
And like any good cook in South Louisiana, I can take the same ingredients everybody else has, but the way I season it is going to make it stand out from the
Well,
rest.
I agree to some extent. You know, I agree. And the thing is, you know, and it doesn't take a whole bunch of players. It
No.
takes a few players that come in and stay healthy and buy into the system. You got me?
Yeah.
Buy
Yeah.
into the system.
ULM is up next. They're having a down year as well. 4-6 overall, 2-5 in conference play. Probably be just what the doctor ordered to hopefully get them in position, psychologically at least, if nothing else, to go out on a high note.
Well, yeah, and if they could beat
A&M.
A&M, that would really be big because, you know, A&M have had that lunch the last 2 times they played. So, you know, we're hoping that they could do it. It would be good for the kids and good for Baton Rouge.
You mentioned earlier on talking about how many games are left in the season, and a lot of people are of the opinion that this team doesn't have anything left to play for. I mean, respectable bowl is out of the question. Conference championship, out of the question. Division championship, out of the question. But at the end of the day, if it's on the schedule, don't you have something to play for?
Yeah, you got to play for it because it's on the schedule. I like the way you phrase that because it is true. When games are on the schedule, you have to play.
Yeah.
You know, and people have paid, bought tickets to see you perform.
Yeah.
You know, so you're an entertainer. People are there, you got to entertain them.
And unless you're a senior, you're auditioning
For the
next guy that comes in. Not to mention, just for your own pride within yourself and the uniform that you wear, every time you step foot on the field, you're supposed to give it 110%.
I agree with you.
Of course, now it's a different day. I get it. Don't y'all send hate mail. I get it. I understand the young people these days are a little different breed from when us old fellows came along.
That's right.
First break. Marty, you in that number 2. First break of today's show. When we come back, we'll check out across town from purple and gold to blue and gold as we continue the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong, and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock, conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to week 11 of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach. Coach, let's shift gears and shift ends of town from the south side of town up to the scenic bluffs of Southern University. It's almost as though there were a script written for football in South Louisiana this weekend. LSU losing it at the end, Southern losing it at the end, Saints losing it at the end. But in the case of Southern, 10-point lead with 6 minutes left to go in the game. That's a tough way to lose a game.
Yeah, and you got one of your rivalries down.
Yeah.
Undefeated in the league.
Yeah.
God, yeah, that's a tough one. Defense had played well all game.
Uh-huh.
And they made a boo-boo on the defense where kid probably came in too close on the receiver, slipped. Mm-hmm. The receiver get by and he walked in.
Yeah.
With 5 minutes to go. I mean, it just...
What do you tell your team after that?
Clarence, I can't remember what I used to say when we lost a hard game. Something like that. I would say, God, you gotta close it. Uh-huh. You gotta be able to finish the game. That's basically what else can you say?
How tough is it to teach, and y'all accept this in the spirit that it's given, killer instinct? Or is it something that only experience can teach a young team?
Well, I think they have to bring it. If you got to teach a kid to have killer instinct, it usually don't work very well. Uh-huh. I think they have to bring it to the table.
Yeah.
And then you cultivate it.
Yeah.
That's why coaches want to go recruit aggressive players.
Right. But the seed has to be there for you to cultivate it.
Yeah, cultivate it. You got to be there. A guy like Marty, use him. You're not going to be able to make him aggressive on the football.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be in him.
It's got to be in him. You just got to bring it out of him.
Jack Tatum, you think Jack Tatum, you remember Jack Tatum.
Oh, yeah. The assassin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys had it.
Do you think Jack, it was a good hit, but could you hit him a little harder next time? I know it might be difficult for you to come to terms with. He'd have no problem with laying you out in a heartbeat. On the other hand, as you mentioned, defense came to play. 3 turnovers the defense comes up with. Only allowed Jackson State 51 yards total rushing. You look at those stats, you win the turnover battle, you hold the opponent to just 51 yards, you kind of automatically assume that's a W.
Isn't that they had that stats against the Florida A&M? They had similar stats.
Uh-huh.
Normally, you said when you have those kind of stats, you're looking at a team that's coming out victorious.
Right.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's a young coach. I mean, Coach Rowland is he's on the interim base. I would say keep the man. I thought he's learned. This was a learning year for him. Give him a chance. I think he could build a good program there.
Yeah, and that's a good segue to the next question. You and I have talked during the season, particularly as it pertains to Southern, about the inability to make adjustments at the half. The last two games you could have won, 2 games against conference rivals. Those 2 games combined, in the second half, the Jaguars scored 3 points total.
Well, I'm not going to say they didn't make
say?
Adjustment. They just maybe the other team made adjustment too.
Or they adjusted better. Than this team
sometimes you don't always score points, and I understand. The beauty about baseball, we didn't have we couldn't go in the locker room.
Right.
We had to make adjustments on the run.
You had 7th inning stretch. If you can't do it then,
yeah, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah. Well, we have highlights from A.W. Mumford Stadium, final home game of the season. So we will ask the crew in the truck to roll the tape as we continue our conversation.
Yeah, that's one in the turnovers there.
I mean, the defense kept them in position to win, but that lack of offensive productivity, and of course that's the case in any sport, whether it's a big ball like basketball, a little ball like baseball. If you can't generate offense, it's going to be a long night and a long season, Coach.
Yeah, and let's face it, they played a good team in Jackson State.
Oh yeah,
you're not going to just be able to score in every opportunity.
But by the same token, when you get the opportunity, you got to cash in.
Well, you want to. Remember, they're a good team. They may not let you. They're undefeated in swike play.
Good point.
There's a reason they're undefeated.
Yeah.
Because they're number 1 in defense.
And you talk about amazing turnarounds, and I think most people figured, if for no other reason, his name recognition and his notoriety is such that he will be able to get players that most other HBCUs can't get, and certainly in the SWAC can't get. But last year, J-State was 4-7.
Yeah.
They turn around this year, they're a top 25 ranked team, undefeated in conference play. Didn't take him long to right the ship, did it?
No, the transfer, Clarence. He got those transfers in. And those guys were able to come in and play right away.
Right.
When you're able to get 2 juniors and seniors, they make impact right away.
Yeah.
And they were playing at a higher level to start with. I think 8 came from the SEC schools. So you're getting
quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting a quality type football player.
Of course, now you also still have to coach them, do you not?
Well, you have to coach them into becoming cohesively into a team. Make sure that they understand teamwork. And obviously, they've done a pretty good job. I like the fact that Dion really talked to his team after whatever some kid did after the game. They think they were bringing
trying to plant the J-State flag on the Southern logo.
You see, that's not what winners do. You know what I'm saying?
No.
See, and he apologized to Southern fans, Jackson State fans, the coaches, the historical black schools, and everybody. He just apologized.
And everybody. Yeah.
He took in everybody because it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah. I've got to wonder, Coach, if what happened at the conclusion of the game was not a result of someone seeing something on social media. And here's why I say that.
I believe you. I believe you.
Here's why I say that. HBCU Game Day. Great website for those of you that want to keep up with HBCU football across the country. reported earlier in the day there was an incident just like this one involving a team trying to plant a flag on the other team's logo, resulted in a fight, tussle after the game. I gotta wonder if some kid didn't see that and figured, this would be something we could do.
Clarence, you nailed it. That's all it is.
Yep.
You know, and it's shameful. It's so shameful that you tarnish the good things you have done all year.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Of course, now you have to think that way and look at things that way. Because at the time they did it, that thought probably never crossed their mind.
Young people.
It never crossed their mind.
Oh, what I would do, Yorkie Barron said. No, Casey Singer said, I never want to live to be old again. Never want to live to be old again.
Unfortunately, what do you think the mindset is right now of the Jaguar Nation, understanding that loss to Jackson State guarantees us a losing season this year? There's no way numerically you can end up above 500. It's been a while since we've had to entertain that up on the Bluffs. What do you think the Jaguar Nation's feeling like?
Well, let's face it. We really hadn't had the Jaguar Nation for years. They came out to 3 games this year.
Yeah.
We hadn't had them, Clarence.
Yeah.
So we can't really call them, we're going to call them the loyalists, the few loyal people who have been there through it all.
Right.
You know, the Jaguar Nation is happy-go-lucky. If you're winning, I'm there. You know, but I just think that they'll be okay.
Yeah. Well,
you know, just like they had to live from the Pete Richardson era to the Coach Odom era, they've got to move on and get to the next era.
The
you got me?
Stump Mitchell days.
Oh, I forgot about Stumps there.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
Anytime, my friend. That's what I'm here for.
I forgot about Stump. He didn't last very long.
Of course.
Did he go 12-0 one year?
No, that was 0-12.
Oh, he had promised 12-0.
He promised 12-0, but ended up with the worst record in the history of Southern football. But that's a different show for a different day. Of course, now, no time to mope about a game that you could have won, because right around the corner you got the Bayou Classic.
Well, and they'll be playing without their head coach.
But now,
to me, why fire that coach with 1 game to play? I really don't understand that. Can you?
In this particular instance, this is one of those games where you can throw the records out the window.
Yes.
They can both be winless coming into the game, but both of them are going to scratch, claw, and fight like the Dickens because it's the Bayou Classic.
You think that Grambling State is thinking that if we might be able to get a little more out of them if we get rid of the coach? I was trying to figure out what the reason is.
Some kind of rationale.
What the rationale is.
Yeah.
Maybe you could come up with it. I know you're pretty good at it.
I pride myself on being able to look at all sides of any issue, but
I just think that they should have stayed the last game with him.
Yeah, when you consider he won a Black College National Championship, 2 SWAC championships, was the SWAC Coach of the Year 3 times, and a number of other accolades, but it comes with the territory in this profession, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes with it. I just wonder, I mean, you know, I have no dog in the fight. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure it out. And for talking purpose, you know, because there may be somebody in the listening audience may be thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I will always remember the late, great Eddie Robinson. In a post-game session once, he and I were sitting down talking, and Southern's record was down that year, and people were raising all kind of hell and all kind of hoopla. And Coach Rob told me, he said, man, I tell Southern fans all the time, all right, be careful what you ask for. You know, when Mumford was there, he was not appreciated nearly as much as he should have been.
Right.
And Rob told me one day, he said, I tell Southern fans, keep on. One day you're going to want to sneak out there to the graveyard and dig A.W. up and stand him on the sideline. because you just be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. We've already covered purple and gold and blue and gold. When we come back, another downer, black and gold. That's next when we continue the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Go to the graveyard and dig him up.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Who says you need a vacation for a view like this? Or, I wish there was a place to get in shape. Try getting on the beaten path. Discover an ever-expanding network of trails and greenways. Some quintessential Southern beauty. Or romp through the woods in a magical land between the rivers. There's more to explore than you ever imagined. Beyond the swing sets. Breck, we are more than a playground.
Welcome back to Week 11 of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, before we talk Saints, I neglected, we ran out of time in the last segment. With your blessing, I'd like to read the statement that Coach Prime, and I'm still trying to get used to that. Deion, forgive me, charge it to my head, not to my heart. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, issued this statement after the altercation following the Southern Jackson State game. Quote, "On behalf of Jackson State University, Coach Rollins, I appreciate you. You're one of the real ones, and I want to formally apologize. We acted like idiots at the conclusion of the game. The gentlemen who thought it was proper to take flags and plant in the middle of your field were straight idiots. And I want to apologize to all the fans, all the alumni, everybody associated with the Southern Jags. That will never happen again. And I'm going to take that responsibility because we're supposed to be smart, tough, fast, and disciplined. We forgot the discipline, and we forgot the character. We've got to learn how to win. We've got to learn how to win right. You fought us to the end. You fought us like dogs, and we're going to return the favor with that foolishness. I want to formally apologize, Coach Rollins. I'm sorry, and that will never happen again. God bless you, Southern, HBCU, God bless you. SWAC, let's do this. Class.
Class. It's right. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, and not only for a football game, but for life.
For life. No, it's more than a game. See, we as coaches are more than coaches.
Yep.
We teaching, we setting a parameter that will set people off into life for generations to come, and they pass it on to their offspring.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
that's good.
and it perpetuates itself.
Yeah, and that's the only way we can make society a better place.
All right, we heard from it long enough. Got to talk black and gold.
Well, you did well. Keep reading.
Got to talk black and gold.
Don't stop.
Problem is, that's the end of the statement. Nothing else to read. Like LSU, like Southern, another game the Saints could have won, Coach.
Yeah, they really could have. I mean, they really could have, Clarence. But you got to play until the final second ticks off the clock. I've been there.
Yeah, you know better than most.
Yes, I've been there. So,
of course, now, as is the case in just about everything that's competitive in nature, whether it's an organized athletic event, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in the home setting, self-inflicted wounds are the ones that seem to hurt the most.
Well, they're always going to hurt because it's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If somebody shoots you, that's one thing. But if you storing the gun improperly in your pocket and shoot yourself in the leg, it seems like it hurts more.
Well, I wouldn't know, but I'm never going to have a gun in my pocket. That's something Marty would do.
But that just makes it all the worse when it's self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, it hurts. We always talk about that too. Don't injure yourself with the mistakes, because when you make mistakes, you injure yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I would tell my son all the time, the worst thing you can ever do in life is not be real to yourself. Know what your strengths are, know what your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
Don't try and do something you know you can't do.
Stay in your lane, bro.
Oh, yeah, stay in that lane.
Stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah.
What's harder to overcome from a coach's viewpoint? Being beaten by a superior team or dealing with the self-inflicted wounds?
Self-inflicted? I mean, you know, superior teams are supposed to beat you. Self-infliction, you're not supposed to shoot yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we know we'll make mistakes, Clarence, because opponents will force you to make mistakes. We know
and
that.
you're human.
Yeah, and we're human. We're imperfect. So, but you try and control the mistakes that you do make.
Well, we have highlights, if you could call them that, from the game.
Good highlights.
So we will ask the crew in the truck if they will be so kind as to roll those as Coach and I continue our conversation. Second week in a row, Coach, you claw, scratch, scream, fight your way back into the game.
Yeah.
Only to give it up, and more important, to look bad doing it. That stings.
Well, it happened even at the professional level.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They played without some of their key players.
Yeah. And you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because for me, and chalk it up to being a fan and not somebody that's suited up and on the field. But as a fan, it hurts more when you consider how far down you were, how many people were missing, and you still managed to hang in there, claw your way back, and then fold up the way you did.
And on the road.
And on top of that.
Against a really good team.
On top of that, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's tough, Clarence, but, you know, you just come on out next week and play, or this weekend, and play good again, you know.
Because
maybe when they could get Michael Thomas back, that would help in Camaro. I mean, they need those two guys.
Yeah, and that certainly would help a quarterback that's not all that familiar with the system, not all that comfortable. Trevor Siemian needs every advantage he can get right about now.
Oh, I agree with you.
One of the things that really stood out to me in this game, 2 missed extra points. That is not what you expect from a Sean Payton coach team.
A lot of people missing them this year, Clarence. It must be something in the air.
Now, that was the first thing that popped into mind, but I don't remember the wind swirling to that degree in Titan Stadium?
Well, it maybe is the pressure that was swirling. That
Yeah.
a lack of concentration. I want to cover it all because, those things are almost automatic,
But this is the highest level there is, Coach.
Yeah, still.
We're still humans.
The last time I checked. Let me see. Let me get a pulse on you.
And anytime there is a human in the equation, there's the possibility that something's going to go wrong.
That's right.
I was trying to remember. I can't remember the last time. I remember a Sean Payton coach team missing 2 extra points.
Well, when they moved that line back,
right,
to kick extra point,
right,
you begin to see more and more miss extra points. And so that's what happened.
That was the worst possible time for it to happen. Despite all of that, though, Trevor Siemian, 19 of 34, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. Respectable.
Oh, no, it's not bad. You got to give him credit. He's giving them a chance to win.
No.
They just got to get it over the finish line.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think most people were of the opinion we want him to be a game manager. Just don't lose the game for us. How long before he starts to feel he's got to win the game?
Well, you want to start winning them all now because you can't get back the games you lost.
Nope.
So you got to start winning because it gets tougher as you get to games 16 and 17. They played 17 games this year, right? So you don't want to get to 14 and 15 and having to win. You want to win now. Put yourself in position so you can have a home game in the playoff,
Got to tip our hats to Mark Ingram, surpassing Deuce McAllister for the all-time Saints rushing record. Good guy, deserving of that award.
Did a good job. I like Mark Ingram.
And there you go, short, sweet, and to the point. Short, sweet, and to the point.
I love him. I mean, he's a really good player. He fits the system, and he's Sean Payton kind of player.
Speaking of fitting the system, if you by chance are in the market for side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, new or used, personal watercraft, you got to go and see our friends over at Powerhouse Outdoors. Formerly, the good folks at Cal Mees Motorsports, 25,000 square foot facility. Any and everything you want, they got it. And as is the case with all great businesses, if they don't have it, they can get it. Matter of fact, they'll be more than happy to get it for you. Kawasaki, Suzuki, Can-Am, Polaris, go down the list. You want it, they've got you covered. 2323 Florida Boulevard, a little short drive over to Denham. Do us all a favor, will you? Your pocket, your smile, your family, and of course, Coach and I, let them know that you heard about them right here on the Roger Cador Show. Final break of today's show. We will get her done, come back and put that big pretty bow on it, and wrap up week 11 of the Roger Cador Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, Coach, it's and the Roger Cador Show. Did I? Brain fart. Brain fart. It happens, especially at my age. Yep. See, there you go, right there. Just goes to show you, happen to anybody. One of the things I've learned over the years, Coach, is that organized sports is one of those things that you can use as a barometer.
Yes.
For how quickly time passes. I remember, and I forget what year it was, of me hosting Eddie Robinson's TV show for Grambling. Broderick Fobbs was the starting fullback. And here he is, well, at least up until yesterday, the head coach at Grambling State University. It's amazing how we relate to certain things in life. I've got to imagine your long decades as a coach. There are certain things that you can point to that were benchmarks and certain people that made an impact in your life. Who are some of those that come to mind?
That made an impact in my life?
Uh-huh.
Well, you go to the first coach,
Uh-huh.
you know, Roosevelt Collins.
Yes.
He was my very first coach, and because that's where so much began, and he cut me.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't leave. I
Right.
came back the next day.
Right.
And that started something, you know.
Have you ever had that situation with you in your coaching career where you cut a kid and they refused? You're not cutting me, and it came back the next day?
No. You know, and I share with my assistant coaches how difficult it is for me to cut someone
Right.
because of my situation.
Right.
Said, you know, just think, had I not fought back,
Right.
I never was have been here.
Nope.
So you don't want to cut someone because you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
And the fortunate thing, all the coaches who coach me, Roosevelt Collins is still the only one that's alive.
Right.
The very first one. He's
Right.
the only one. And he and I talk.
Uh-huh.
We talk and we
Yeah,
laugh.
we had him on the show once.
Right.
Yeah.
And we talk and we laugh about, you know, how he could have changed the history.
Uh-huh.
And he demanded that I not come back.
Right.
And I teased him and said, good thing Hold Your Ground wasn't around when you, had you held your ground,
Yeah.
I'm over.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah.
Stand your ground. That's
Yeah,
what they call it.
stand your ground.
He didn't stand his ground. He let me back.
He obviously allowed you back into practice, allowed you to continue pursuing that dream. Had a player, when Roger was coaching, had he done that, you cut him, you look up the next day, he's right back at practice, how would you have handled it?
I would let him stay.
Uh-huh.
I would, you know, and because my coaches used to fuss at me. You can't cut nobody. You're afraid to cut.
Right.
And I'm telling them all the time, I'm living this, man. Don't cut
Uh-huh.
people.
Uh-huh.
Now, the last 5-10 years of coaching, you really had to cut people.
Right.
Because they limit you to 35.
Right.
This is why in my beginning when I have 60, 70, 80 kids on the team.
Wow.
Couldn't cut them.
Wow.
Couldn't cut them. As the coach would say, you don't have the guts. You're right. Because I don't know what I would be cutting.
Yeah, yeah. And only time will tell if you cut a young person what the world might be missing out on. Not to mention how you might impact that young person's life.
Yeah, it was something about me as I look back that was uniquely different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once I got my daddy to give up what he know, I had to be able to make. I took that going forward.
Right.
He gave up the only thing he knew how to do for me.
Uh-huh.
I had to make something.
Yeah, you had no choice.
Yeah, so I had to find a way to, and I think Mr. Collins, Roosevelt Coach Collins, realized that, this kid, this is it for him.
Yeah, and if nothing else, he's got desire and drive. I can work with that.
Yeah, and I got better fast.
Uh-huh.
I was terrible. I was terrible. I was terrible. And when I say I got better fast, I just kept improving every year.
Right.
I got better.
Uh-huh.
And I look back even at Southern. I was the one boy drafted as a senior. I wasn't the best player. And I know those guys were saying, how in the hell
Right.
this guy get drafted and I didn't?
Right.
Because everybody was so much better than me. But it was something about me that kept me around.
Wow. In the ranks of the HBCUs, we've noticed a resurgence, a new respect for HBCUs, particularly in football. Florida A&M this week joining Jackson State in the
Prairie View?
Prairie View's out, but FAMU is in.
Hold up, did
FAMU's
Prairie
number
View lose
25.
to someone?
No, but I think they struggled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Florida A&M now is in at number 25.
And I like that fact that you got two power teams from the same division with Jackson and FAMU. See, FAMU is in a really good situation.
Oh, yeah.
In the state of Florida. The three power schools can't get them all.
Right.
They got so many people and players and athletes. So they'll do well.
Yeah. I noticed that, and you and I talked about this, there are reportedly rumors swirling that Texas Christian University, known by the acronym TCU, is interested in Deion Sanders for the coaching vacancy at Texas Christian. What do you make of that?
Well, they have already hired someone, assistant coach from Baylor.
They hired today?
A couple of days ago.
Okay. But to even be considered for that job? Now,
can I say something before you go there?
Sure.
Deion said he had nothing to do with that.
Right.
He said, how can I interview? I'm in the hospital.
Right. So, well, that's what he said. But at the same time,
I like that, Clarence.
At the same time, I don't think anybody realistically, and that's the operative word here, realistically expects that Jackson State will be the epitome of Coach Prime and his coaching career. I mean, I've always been of the opinion, and maybe I'm 180 degrees off base, his time is limited.
Yeah.
I mean, you start the first year 4-7, second year top 25, going to play for the conference championship. His days there are numbered for somebody with much bigger resources, much bigger bucks, much better facilities. They're going to hire him away from Jackson State.
But he won't leave with his two sons there right away.
Oh, no.
It wouldn't be fair for the father to abandon his two kids.
Unless he takes them with him.
Well, they're going to have to sit out.
Well, yeah.
You see, so they ain't going. I think he stays there a couple more years and see what happens.
Right.
And then they would give him a chance to learn a little more about being a head coach. Because it's about delegating responsibility.
Oh, pure and simple.
See, he's raising money.
Right.
He's doing PR. That's what Coach Prime is doing.
That's what he's doing.
He's a PR guy.
Yeah. And you can't blame him for that. We mentioned earlier on, sometimes you got to play to your own strengths.
And the thing is, he is building a legacy there. He got a chance to build monuments at Jackson State. That a lot of people like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You can't take it
Yeah.
with you when you leave.
Right.
But they got it there while he's there.
Uh-huh.
And he can say, look, my grandkids, look what your grandpa did.
And to the credit of the conference, they understand that Coach Prime is much bigger than anything we're talking about here. So why not ride that for the benefit of the conference?
Well, I think Alabama A&M and Alabama State now realize they were against him.
Right.
Talking against, now they realize, man, we better hook ourselves to a shirt tail.
Yeah.
And because
Yeah.
we're not going to take ourselves there. I used to tell guys that all the time when I was coaching. You know, we had Ricky Weeks. Guys, Ricky Weeks is going to take y'all places you're never going to get to go.
Good point.
I know it, and I'm going to follow him.
Right.
You know.
Now, you can come along with us if you want.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stay there by yourself.
Yeah.
On another note, switching gears, got to tip our hat to the basketball program at Southern. Went up the road last week to taking on Tulane and beat the Greenway.
That's a big victory.
Yeah.
All I tell you is what you do is give coaches time so they can build their foundation and they can do better. And I think Southern has got some good coaches. We just need to give them time.
All right, so that being said, I'm going to give you your AD hat, your Board of Supervisors hat.
I don't want the board hat. Not that hat.
How long do you give Jason Rollins?
I give him 2 more years.
2 more?
Give him 2 more years. You bring in another guy, it's going to take him 2 years.
True.
Give him 2 years to see. I think this guy has an understanding. Because he was in games they could have won.
True.
Just couldn't get off. So, I mean, you forced me to put my AD hat on. That's what I said.
Well, yeah.
As long as we keep the board out of it.
Yeah, okay.
They don't know.
Okay, fair enough. A couple of weeks from now, we will be privy to what is arguably the most grand spectacle of HBCU football on the planet, the Bayou Classic. Do you think the founders of this event had any idea that it would last this long and become this big?
I think they knew they had some, but they couldn't imagine. That thing got really big. And so Eddie Robertson and those guys, College
Nicholson.
Yeah, them guys did a really good job.
Yeah. I always marvel at the fact that they had such a complete grasp of the fact that at the end of the day, they were makers of men. At the end of the day, they were educators. But when it came down to it, they were showmen.
Showmen and promoters.
They were promoters.
He took the show on the road to all these different cities.
And they had a product that they knew people would be willing to pay to see, and they took it to the very next level. Hopefully, we'll get to see you and yours down in New Orleans as we enjoy another Bayou Classic. Throw the records out the window. Doesn't matter. On behalf of the coach and the crew in the truck, Marty on floor, I'm Clarence Buggs. We'll see you next week with another edition of the Roger Cador Show. Go Jags.